What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yu, and you're watching the TF Movie Show. This is just a web series where we're talking about the Transformers live-action movie franchise. Episode number 34. And in the previous episode, we talked about whether or not Bumblebee is considered a prequel or a reboot. I gave you my answer, but during that episode, we talked a little bit about what's coming next. After all, Bumblebee is a stepping stone for what Paramount is going to do moving forward. They're going to see what is the response, both critically and also financially, for Bumblebee, and then from that point on they decide that, okay, this is how we're going to move forward. So I'm pretty positive that they have a bunch of ideas in their mind. After all, they should have a bunch of ideas, especially since this is one of their biggest franchise for their studio. So let's just start with this tweet from Carolina Dog. Thank you, Carolina Dog, for this tweet. Alex, if Bumblebee movie is viewed a success and they decide to go forward, do you think they will ask Travis Knight back, or do they let someone new share their vision? Very, very good question. Thank you, Shane, for your question. I would like to answer that in this video, and this video is all about sequels and what is to come after Bumblebee. First of all, I actually don't think that Travis Knight will come back for a a War for Cybertron movie or an Optimus Prime movie, just because right now, as it stands, he already mentioned that he's going back into stop motion animation at Laika Studios, which is the company he started. He directed Kubo and the Two Strings, so his next film will most likely, or I'm pretty positive, 100% positive, that he will be working on a stop motion animation film and maybe another one after that. Bumblebee was kind of like a one-off for him, but never say never. Okay, that's what Michael Bay said. Never say never. Okay, and he said he wasn't going to come back, but he came back. And you know, it isn't always just about money. For Travis Knight, I feel that this is more like a passion for him. So if one day Paramount calls him to come back for another Transformers film, I don't think he's going to say no, and I think it all comes down to what other opportunities arise. Like, for example, if he's working on something from Laika and it doesn't fall in line with the scheduling and creates a scheduling conflict, so he cannot work on another Transformers film, then it won't happen. Also, if another project seems more interesting to Travis Knight, and then he decides, well, you know, I've already directed a live-action Transformers film, I want to work on this now, then he will decide that, no, I will not be working on another Transformers film. So it all really comes down to that. But I would love for Travis Knight to come back, and we shall see what happens. Anyways, I'd like to follow up with this article from Hollywood Reporter. Viacom CEO says he's mulling small acquisition targets. Now, this is, of course, regarding Viacom CEO Bob Bakish and what he had to say about Bumblebee and the Transformers franchise. And if you don't already know, Paramount is Viacom company, so they have everything to do with each other. And he was quoted saying this, or rather, he congratulated Paramount for a successful turnaround using the latest Transformers franchise as an example. Bumblebee, he said, is a solidly profitable, while its predecessor in the summer of 2017 lost more than $100 million. Well, I did not even know that. I did not know even at $600 million worldwide, Transformers Last Night was a $100 million loss for the studios. That's really quite unfortunate, and they knew that moving forward, they cannot do the same thing over and over and over again with this huge loss. Now, Transformers The Last Night was budgeted had a production budget of $217 million. Now, if you know movie math, they usually match that amount with or more than the production budget for the marketing budget. So let's just say the marketing budget was probably $200 to $250 million. We're already almost up to $500 million. And not only that, they got to pay residuals. So producers, directors get a percentage of that box office take, and also maybe Mark Wahlberg did. Maybe he had a Tony Stark deal. Not a Tony Stark deal, a Robert Downey Jr. deal where he takes a percentage of that box office chunk. And not only that, Transformers Last Night also had Chinese investors, which the box office receipts had to make a return on investment for. So at the end of the day, they didn't make very much money, if at all. They were expecting the same kind of result that Age of Extinction and Transformers Dark of the Moon had at $1.1 billion. They didn't get that, not even close. Actually, just above half. So that was unfortunate. So Bumblebee, ultimately, when you compare it to Transformers Last Night, is definitely a success, a huge success. Definitely not a loss, not a huge loss. Now this is from Bloomberg Opinion. Paramount Pictures is Hollywood's comeback kid, and it features a photo of Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Mission Impossible followed huge success. Bumblebee also a success, and is about to be a big success. And what by big I don't mean $1 billion number. I'm talking about a movie that not only breaks even, but is still making money after that because it has reached the break-even point. Jim Giannopoulos rather is the CEO. Giannopoulos is also trying to recharge Transformers, which is based on the Hasbro Inc. Incorporated toys, derided for being shallow, irritatingly loud, and with contrived machismo. The 2017 installment, the final one to be directed by Michael Bay, was the lowest grossing in the series and scored just 15% on Rotten Tomatoes. Not that that matters. Now with director Travis Knight, the Rotten Tomatoes part, the franchise has been reimagined, and the recently released Bumblebee, which stars a female lead and was the first Transformers screenplay to be written by a woman, is already meeting positive reviews. And yes, it has met positive reviews last month, and it is, like I said, like they said in the previous article, solidly profitable. So we're seeing a turnaround. We're seeing a comeback from Paramount Pictures, and Transformers franchise is making a comeback with Bumblebee. Now, this article from Metro News mentions, will there be a Bumblebee 2? What's the future for Transformers universe? Here's what its producer told us. Okay, this is from producer Lorenzo de Bonaventura mentioning, we actually have an animated movie in the works that will the whole Cybertron mythology. The fans will love that. We're trying to figure out an Optimus Prime solo movie. You had me at Cybertron animated movie. Now, this is something that was already talked about like back in 2014, rather even earlier, like 2014, 2015, where they decided to have the writer's room. This was back in October of 2014. They did the writer's room thing, and then they talked about an animated Cybertron prequel called Transformers 1, which was going to be written by Ant-Man scribes Gabriel Ferrari and Andrew Barr and Gabriel Ferrari. Looks like that is actually happening. After all, Bumblebee is a success, and a lot of people has mentioned that they would love to see that War for Cybertron film, like an animated film, done in the same style in which Travis Knight did it, but in a feature-length film. That's actually happening. It's in the works, but it all depends on if Bumblebee makes a big amount of money, and it looks like it's on its way to doing so. And I think that would be the next film to come out. Next, he mentioned Optimus Prime solo film. It will be hard with Optimus. He is always right, very stoic, and is a man of a few words. It is kind of like saying, let's do a movie about Obi-Wan Kenobi. How much is there to say about Obi-Wan? It's not so easy. Now, you're right about Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm not really that interested in an Obi-Wan Kenobi film, to be completely honest. And actually, the Star Wars prequels kind of did work as an Obi-Wan story. If you want to see, the Obi-Wan Kenobi from the very first film, like Star Wars A New Hope, we just saw its prequel story from, the prequel trilogy. So, yeah, I don't need to see an Obi-Wan Kenobi film, but I would love to see an Optimus Prime solo film. Now, what would that be about? Would that take place only on Cybertron, or half Cybertron, half Earth, or completely on Earth? Now, should they decide to do an Optimus Prime solo film, make it an Optimus Prime solo film. Like we said, I mean, like a lot of fans have been saying in the past, there doesn't need to be a Transformer and human story anymore, like at all. We don't need to see that anymore. Now, I disagree somewhat, because if the film takes place on Earth, there has to be humans. Bumblebee worked because there's a human connection there. There's an emotional element there, and that was created by a human having an emotional connection with an alien. So that completely worked, and that was driven by two characters, a human character and a Transformers character. Now, I think at this point in time, 6 films into the franchise and 11 years into the franchise, it is time that they can actually do a Transformers solo film that takes place on Earth where the Transformer is the main character. They can do that, but they can only do it with Optimus Prime. They can only do it with Optimus Prime. Think about it. Do we want to see, I mean, we've already seen a boy in his car. We just saw a girl out in his car. What are we going to see next? A truck driver and his truck? I don't know if I want to see that anymore. I know that there will be a truck driver there because, it's a truck, right? Maybe, and it's a robot in disguise. He will disguise himself as a truck, and then we will see, probably other trucks with other truck drivers. So there will be truck drivers there, but I think they can totally pull this off as an Optimus Prime solo film without a human being the the other lead, like in the same presence and level as Haley Steinfeld and Shia LaBeouf. I don't think that they need to do that, and I think they can actually pull it off. Okay, think of how they can pull that off, and really, really think about it. I think they can actually make it work. It can because Optimus Prime is a leader. So therefore, if there are going to be other Autobots around, he will be doing the interaction with those other Autobots. It might be a smaller film, maybe it'll just be Optimus Prime and Bumblebee, but at the end of the day, they can make that work, and I truly believe that, but only now. It's kind of like how they made a lot of mistakes with the Michael Bay movies. They learned from that, and now they can do something entirely different. So that's why Bumblebee works now, and Bumblebee could not have worked had it been not for the failure of Transformers Last Night and what they've done in Transformers, the Michael Bay films. You know what I'm saying? So Bumblebee being released now, even though a lot of fans said they should have received it, released this film back in the very, very beginning, Bumblebee needed to be seen now. You know what I'm saying? 11 years after the 2007 original. It had to be released now so that we could see how it would work and how fans would turn around saying that this is so much better than the original. Now, had Bumblebee been released in 2007, a lot of fans would be complaining and saying that there is way too much human element, not enough Transformers. The Cybertron thing was just a teaser. That's why Optimus Prime can work now. You know what I'm saying? So it's really, really good timing, I think. Optimus Prime film being like a solo film where he's the main character. Think about it. Think about how fans would react to that. They've already reacted positively well to Bumblebee. Optimus Prime having his own film is another step in the right direction. Think about it. And not only that, they're doing War for Cybertron next after Bumblebee, after the positive response, and then followed by Optimus Prime solo film. This is the Travis Knight era. You know what I'm saying? It's the Bay era is gone. This is the Travis Knight era, and it's the start of something really, really fresh. So that's the other thing that could be in the works, and is kind of like in the works right now. They're just trying to figure it out. So animated Cybertron prequel, written by Gabriel Ferrari and Andrew Barr, and also an Optimus Prime solo film. And next is this. In this article by Variety, Bumblebee screenwriter hints about Birds of Prey Batgirl and why she writes about female superheroes. Has there been any talk about a Bumblebee sequel? Do you have any ideas for one? I do. I know exactly what I want to do with one. I don't know if we're going to do it. We've got to see if audiences go and see this movie, but I know where I want to go with the next one. So Christina Hodson, the writer for Bumblebee, has an idea for Bumblebee. Bumblebee's success is, of course, partly due to Christina Hodson's writing and her ideas and concepts. Now, for Paramount Pictures to bring her back, along with bringing back director Travis Knight, would be a great winning duo. Now, if they do decide to have this, would Haley Steinfeld be back? I actually don't think so. I actually believe that this was a one-off for Haley Steinfeld. I think that they would have a new adventure for Bumblebee. Bumblebee is going to go off somewhere in a different part of the United States, and he's going to be regrouping with other Autobots. He's got brand new adventures, and Haley Steinfeld did end with, you need to go, there are people out there that need you. And that was a hint to tell Bumblebee that, we don't need to be together, you're better off without me, we need to lead our own lives. Haley Steinfeld's character arc has come full circle, and she challenged her fears. So now she can go on about her life. She does not need Bumblebee to revisit her life again. So if there were to be a Bumblebee sequel, it would of course follow Christina Hodgson's script. And I'm sure Paramount would be knocking on Travis Knight's door. And hopefully, if Travis Knight is not working on anything at Laika Studios, and he's not working on another live-action film, which is a completely different thing from Bumblebee, then I think he would be back. Given that they give him a great idea, there's a good script, and there's a better salary. So I would love to see another Bumblebee adventure. I am pretty positive they can do a lot more things. They can make it bigger, and then they'll continue where Bumblebee left off. And it's kind of like how they're doing Rise of the Planet of the Apes trilogy. Like, there's a lot of other stories to be told before they get to that original film. Like, the 2007 film might have happened in 2007, but between 1987 and 2007, there's 20 full years. A lot of stuff could have went down, and we want to know, as an audience, if you're a fan of Bumblebee, I'm very curious to know what other adventures Bumblebee has gone through. Now, there is a fourth film idea that could be happening, but is currently not in the works, and that is a larger, actual Transformers movie. Not an animated prequel, not a Bumblebee solo film, not an Optimus Prime solo film, an actual Transformers film where they're going up against actual Decepticons, and by actual Decepticons, I mean like a band of Decepticons led by Megatron. I'm talking about that. There is a bigger Transformers film like that could be happening, just not in active development. So essentially, there are 4 film ideas out there. Animated prequel, Bumblebee 2, Optimus Prime, and Transformers. But no Unicron film. That is what is happening. And if you want to know what's next, animated Cybertron prequel. When is that happening? In as early as 2021. Bumblebee came out in 2018. They learned that they probably shouldn't release a Transformers film 1 year after its failure that is called Transformers Last Night. Do what they did from the previous ones. Release them 3 years apart from each other. That way the fans have had time to relax. Think about it. Transformers, 700 million worldwide. 3 years later, Revenge of the Fallen. Sorry, 2 years later. 2 years later, Revenge of the Fallen. 2 years later, and Revenge of the Fallen is 800 million worldwide. 2 years later after that, Dark of the Moon, $1.1 billion. 3 years later after that, Age of Extinction, $1.1 billion. Give it a 3-year wait. Give us animated Cybertron prequel. Make that money. There you have it. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode. What do you want to see? Bumblebee 2, animated prequel, Optimus Prime solo film, or Transformers, another sequel? Let me know in the comment section below, and let me know what your idea for the story would be. Except for animated Cybertron prequel, because we already know it's about a big war. But I want to know what your ideas for Bumblebee, Optimus Prime, and Transformers would be. It's not going to be a Unicron story, mark my words. So don't even include that. Anyways, as always, if you enjoyed this video, you want to see more, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation, also follow me on Twitter, Ragin Nation. My name is Alex. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace.